Welcome student. So we are going to study second part of disaster management. In disaster management, you can see how to handle disaster management. There is a process. First is mitigation, second is preparation, third is response, and fourth is recovery. And it is called as disaster management cycle. Okay. Now we are going to study it. Okay. First is how to handle disaster. Okay. First is mitigation, then preparation, then response, and final recovery. So disaster management involves a cycle of activities focused on mitigation, preparation, response, and recovery to minimize the impact of disaster. Okay, why it is said that to recovery to minimize the impact of disaster? Because disaster are going to happen, because it is some disaster are natural, some disaster are human made. So in order to minimize the impact of disaster, it has its own cycle. Okay, cycle which contains activities, which contains some steps. Okay, जैसे mitigation होता है, first mitigation means कम करना, उसका मीनिंग होता है प्रिपरेशन, रिस्पॉन्स एंड रिकवरी. सो वन बाय वन इसे हम समझेंगे. First is mitigation. What is mitigation? Mitigation means understand potential hazard like floods, earthquakes, or wildfires in your area. Okay. Mitigation means how we can slow down the impact of that disaster. Mitigation means to slow down. Okay. Understand potential hazard. Okay. जैसे फ्लड्स होता है, earthquakes होता है, wildfires होता है, तो ये इसका इसका जो इम्पैक्ट है इसके बारे में हमें समझना चाहिए कि इसका इम्पैक्ट क्या हो सकता है. So implement measure to lessen the impact of this hazard such as building earthquakes resistant structure. Okay, everyone should know, there should be training to everyone about the potential hazard, the dangerous impact of disaster like floods, earthquakes, or wildfire. So in order to minimize the impact of this hazard, we can build earthquake resistant structure. जैसे earthquake आता है, तो earthquake से क्या होता है, डिस्ट्रक्शन होता है, बिल्डिंग गिर जाती है. ओके, तो we can build, there is a structure which can minimize the impact of earthquake, which is called as earthquake resistant structure. So ऐसे बिल्डिंग बना सकते हैं, उसका स्ट्रक्चर ऐसा बना सकते हैं जो उस अर्थक्वेक के रेजिस्टेंस को कम कर पाए. ओके, देन improve infrastructure to withstand disaster like building dams to control floods or reinforcing building to withstand earthquake. Yes, we can improve infrastructure that can resist, that can that can face the destruction of earthquake, the impact of earthquakes. Okay, we can build dams to control the floods. Okay, it is important to identify risks like floods, earthquake, or wildfire. Yes, first is mitigation. In order to minimize the impact of disaster like floods, earthquakes, or wildfire, okay, we have to understand their impact, how dangerous they are, or their impact are. So we can build earthquake resistant structure, earthquake resistant buildings in order to minimize the impact, or we can build dams to control the floods. Okay, these are totally under training. Everyone should know, or every community or organization or government should give know the potential hazard of such disaster, and there should be training to each and everyone about such disaster. Preparedness, creating a disaster plan that include evacuation routes, communication strategies, and resource allocation. Yes, In case of disaster, there should be preparation, means how to escape. Then there should be communication strategy between government and the rescue team. Then resource allocation. There should be resource allocation, means daily needs and what want. We should There should be availability of such resources. Implement system to provide timely alert about impending disaster. Mock drills and training will help to tackle such situation. Yes, prepare. How to prepare for such condition? First is escape, communication strategies, communication between. There is some organization are there, rescue teams are there. So we should we should have communication with them. Or rescue team and government. There should be communication between government and rescue team. Then resource allocation, okay, necessity, then mock drills and training. Okay, there should be mock drills and training. How to tackle such situation, practice of such situation, how to tackle such situation, which everyone should know. Everyone should uh, have their own strategies, or how, they should know how to escape, or how to mentally prepare for such disaster. Learn about potential disaster in your area and how to respond effectively. Practice how to prepare kits with essential supplies like food, water, first aid, and medication. Yes, resources like food, water, first aid, and medication. Response: following evacuation order so that you can evacuate to safer location immediately. Yes, go to you can locate to safer position. You have to follow the activities, or you have to follow the guidance given by rescue team. Contacting emergency services for assistance and follow their instruction and stay informed for new updates and guidance. Okay, contacting emergency services in such cases for assistance and follow their instruction and guidance. Okay, because new updates and guidance are very important. You should know the new updates and guidance in such situation. Then seeking assistance from government after disaster, like applying for government aid, insurance claim, or other forms of support. After disaster, you can seek assistance. You can search for assistance from government. Okay, work with authorities and community organization to rebuild damaged infrastructure and restore livelihood. Analyze what worked well and what could be improved for future preparation. Okay, you have to analyze what is working well and what could be done better in future. Okay, effective disaster management require cooperation. Okay, there should be cooperation. There should be unity between organization and government. Okay, NGOs and the public. Engage community member in all phases of disaster management. Efficiently utilize available resources during and after a disaster. Okay, then conclusion. Disaster, whether natural or human made, have significant threat to society. Yes, डिजास्टर कौन सा भी हो, नेचुरल और ह्यूमन मेड, उसका इम्पैक्ट डेंजरस होता है या डिस्ट्रक्टिव होता है. ओके, लॉस ऑफ लाइफ एंड इकोनॉमिक डैमेज, इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ थम जाती है. इफेक्टिव डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट इट इज अ एक्टिविटी स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम मिटिगेशन टू रिकवरी. For minimizing impact and ensure a recovery after disaster. Efficient resource allocation, running first aid, collaboration between government and communities is very important. So these are communication strategies. So in term how in order to manage disaster, there should be communication between communities, organizations, NGOs, and public. Okay, then there should be training, mock drills. Okay, how to escape or how to locate to safer position. Okay, there should be mock drill and training. Proactive measures means identifying the risks or identifying the potential hazard of such disaster. We can plan or we can prepare ourselves. Proactive measures like establishing early warning system to alert. Yes, okay. Then conducting drills and training session to familiarize people with emergency procedures, habit of stockpiling essential supplies like food, water, and medical supply. Okay, this was all about disaster management. So disasters are natural and human made activities, and in order to manage it, we have to identify the potential hazard or potential impact of such disaster. We have to prepare ourselves, training and mock drill, allocation of resources. Okay, there should be communication between NGOs, government, and public. Okay, proactive attitude is very important. So all together we can minimize the impact of disaster. So this was all about disaster management. Hope you understand it. So uh, thank you very much. Take care and best of luck for your future.